Coming up on SEO Lunch, what happens when the U.S. is exposed to 5.3 trillion banner ads per year?
And what can you do about it?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of SEO Lunch. I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm Dan.
Dan, it's always a pleasure to see you. This is
Always.
the show where we recap the week's best SEO or web marketing articles on the internets, if you will.
I will.
Check us out, slocumstudio.com/blog, slocumstudio.com/subscribe.
This is the source to go to as a small business for the know-how, the in for all of your web marketing and SEO tips.
We've always been begging for 500 subscribers, but guess what? We are
We
above 500, 526 roughly. So let's get to the 5,000 mark.
Absolutely.
That'd be great. Let us know what you want to hear on SEO Lunch. What kind of tips, tricks, SEO, web marketing stuff do you want to go through?
The show's only as good as you and the resources you want. So if we're not giving you the right resources, we're not doing our jobs.
That's correct. So speaking of doing our jobs, let's get
right into it.
Let's get right into it so that we can get you off and running on your lunch break.
So what's going on first, Matt?
First one, 15 alarming stats about banner ads. This is going to be a great talk today from Brian Morrissey of Digiday.
And then we're going to talk about how 7 businesses improved their email marketing campaigns via the Daily Egg on crazyegg.com.
How to make your blog mobile friendly. We kind of talked about this last week in the WordPress episode, but this will be a great way to discover more of that in a technical manner.
Last week we talked about the history of SEO. This week we're going to talk about WTF is SEO from Important, and this is more about what SEO is to you if you're not used to it and how you can begin to practice.
What the fig Newton, Dan?
What the fig Newton?
Do-it-yourself SEO on a short string budget. We all have, shoestring budget that most small businesses run into nowadays.
Absolutely. And then Patrick Hathaway continues that battle against Google and the public outcries for organic content with his article, Great Content Can't Deserve to Rank.
Awesome. And as always, we want to hit up 5,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit subscribe if you're liking the show.
Absolutely.
15 alarming stats about banner ads.
15 of them.
Very interesting that you pulled this article.
Yes.
Because as it so happens, I launched my first banner ad on an advertising network.
And why did you do that?
Well, Dan, I wanted some targeted traffic.
Absolutely.
For my other podcast, Matt Report, where I interview WordPress entrepreneurs, I pulled an ad on a fellow WordPress developer site,
right,
who gets about 20 to 30,000 views a month, unique views a month on his blog, and he has buy-sell ads set up on his site. So It was very inexpensive.
Yes.
It's not the thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars even. For 30 days, I was able to pull one of his spots for a very reasonable price, and it's a targeted audience.
Right. So my question to you, I guess, is after reading this article, and we'll have the image up, I'm sure, for you on the video. How do you feel about that decision, looking at these statistics?
Right, and I always knew that traditional advertising on the web. So that's kind of like an oxymoron, right? So traditional advertising on the web is just banner ads. Right. And I've gone through some of the pain points of this stuff, but more specifically on like Facebook ads,
right?
Where they just weren't performing at all.
Right.
I mean, we were able to target demographics, but the ad itself wasn't performing. So I already kind of knew about this stuff, although these stats are amazing. Like 5.3 trillion displayed ads were served last year. Right. Which is only up 1 trillion from 2009, but
only up 1 trillion.
the
only place where this isn't consequential at all. Yeah.
Right. Interesting to see, like the 468 by 60 banner has a 0.04% click rate, and a lot of other awesome stats in this article.
Yeah, one of the stats that I put down here is you are more likely to survive a plane crash than click on a banner ad.
Yeah. So why did I do it? Well, number one, I'm trying to get exposure to the show. Number two, it was pretty affordable for me to run this banner ad. But secondarily, I know it's a focused network.
Right, and I think the reason why I'm not so like on you about it especially after reading this article so much is because the market that you're trying to reach, these are tech people to a degree, these web marketers and these web designers and developers. They know when they see an ad, okay, this is either this looks like a good venture for me. Versus if you're selling on like a restaurant website or something else, I think the common trope is this is spam, or this is something I shouldn't click on. This is a virus even. So I think in your case, you kind of get a good pass and get away with it because of the market you're trying to reach.
Right.
But I think that in a lot of cases, it really is important to think outside the box when you're doing marketing efforts, because so much of it looks like spam or is spam, or people have been broken by that kind of spam in the past and they don't want it to happen to them again. They don't want to click on that banner ad anymore.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and I probably wouldn't have done it any other way than knowing that, number one, I had control over the banner ad,
right.
so we created the creative for it. I knew where it was going.
Right,
I knew
exactly.
who this person was, and I kind of assumed, like, I kind of know his audience because his audience is the audience I'm looking for.
Yeah, right.
So I have a good feeling that it's going to perform very well, and I hope to continue that ad as I go through.
Absolutely, and I hope the best.
Thank you.
Beyond that, if you do want to think about something more creative, we can talk about email marketing campaigns, which we talk about every now and then. What we have today is actually a resource, though, from the Daily Egg on crazyegg.com. It's Sharice Jacob, and it's how 7 businesses improved their email marketing campaigns. And this is one way to do an effective marketing campaign at this point on the web, as opposed to just typical advertising. I know we do it to a degree and things like that with our content. And this article comes up with kind of a few different ways that we haven't really talked about.
Excuse me.
It's all good. To basically think about doing email marketing differently than everybody else.
Right. I love email marketing. I think it's the best marketing that you can do because you own the list. You're building a list. It's locumstudio.com/subscribe to join our list.
Right.
But it's great because no one is ever going to tell you can't send this content, or you can't market to these people, except for the people that you're marketing to. So they have the ability to say, you know what, I don't like what you're giving me anymore, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. But that's good in a way. It's like firing the clients you don't need. If you're switching to a different piece of content and they don't like it, well then maybe they're not the right customer fit.
Absolutely.
But they're not
Absolutely.
Facebook. The point is it's not a platform that you're marketing on. It's not Facebook. It's not Twitter,
right.
where they can shut you off. Or
right.
change the way it kind of works
Exactly.
to kind of mess with your business.
You can go local. You can target active subscribers versus inactive subscribers. You can gamify your email, make it kind of a fun little adventure to click through your email. So you can do things that you wouldn't necessarily be afforded otherwise.
That's right. Let's jump on over to one of my favorite topics, how to make your blog mobile friendly in Cleary on Social Media Examiner.
Yeah.
We're talking about going mobile. And again, we've repeated this before. If you don't have a mobile strategy, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
If you don't have anything set up, whether it be just a mobile landing page or a whole mobile responsive site, get to it.
Last week we talked about easy options like WP Touch for a responsive app for WordPress if you are developing on the WordPress framework, which we obviously highly recommend. Of course, there's also custom responsive websites like a minimize theme and stuff like that.
Right. And actually, let's talk about maybe you don't need a mobile site.
Yeah.
Right. So
Sure.
something that this article points out right away is look at your stats.
Right.
Pull up your Google Analytics or whatever analytic package you're using to measure your site, and look at what's the mobile view. Is it 10%, 20%? I'd say anything at 10% up, you better start hopping on that mobile strategy bandwagon real soon.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to be a large at the end of the year. That's a lot of traffic.
A large chunk of people or traffic that's in traffic and needs a quick fix or needs a quick answer to a solution or a solution to their problem that your website can provide them, but they can't otherwise get because your website isn't mobile.
Right. Exactly. So make your site mobile, like we said. WordPress, if you're on WordPress, there are plugins, there are themes that are responsive. What's the difference? Hop on over to our Press This playlist, and you'll find some of the mobile videos that we've done breaking down how to do this in WordPress.
Absolutely. There's a couple different solutions there. Next up, We have WTF is SEO. This is Ian Lurie on Important.com. Again, last week, I believe it was, or 2 weeks ago, we had an article about what SEO was from a historical perspective, starting with Google and moving on from there. This is more about what SEO means to you. It means to you.
One of the things that he says is it's not a tactic, or it's not, excuse me, it's not a strategy. It's a long-term.
Right.
It's a practice. It's what you have to. It's not just, oh, I'm going to stop this now.
Yeah.
You know, this month's strategy is SEO. Next month's strategy is, dressing up in a costume and handing out coupons at the mall. It's, SEO has to be long term.
Right.
You have to be ready for that long battle of doing things the right way.
Yeah. The one of the takeaways I got from this was it basically says treat SEO as a multi-team goal, like loss reduction, risk management, or communications policy, where SEO may not necessarily be a department that you have, but maybe, okay, well, you're designing the website or you're designing this. Well, you should make it SEO friendly for this. And you're going to be going out and doing this. So you should incorporate that into our search engine optimization and kind of like taking it and making it a team effort.
Right. The key thing to remember is SEO has changed. We talked about this quite some time ago.
Yes.
Actually, beginning of the show. It's the whole reason why we're doing the show is because it is not just keywords and links anymore. It's the holistic view of of all kinds of marketing, brick and mortar marketing, web marketing, traditional marketing. You have to have all the pieces playing together because Google has outsmarted us and for a good reason. So people don't game the system.
Yeah,
so we're not just getting robotic or gamed results when people are searching.
And we'll jump on that in a couple articles from now. Yep. That whole discussion.
So, you now understand that you need to do SEO. How do I do this for cheap?
Right.
Number one is jumping to WordPress, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think WordPress comes out of the box very well prepared for a lot of the good SEO stuff.
And there's some great plugins out there that you can use as well. So if their SEO isn't good enough for you and you want a very, very specific, you can look out. And we on our Press This series, we talk about a couple of those as well.
But they talk about some of the more technical sides of how to do SEO on a shoestring budget. Start with an on-site analysis of the website. Look at what's working and what's not working. This is a great, we could go on forever on this article, but use this article if you're just jumping into it and you want to do it for cheap. Use this article as a foundation to look at these 5 steps and say, here's what I should do.
And I liked it as a resource because it is this one's a little bit more serious than what we talk about from a content perspective. This is like more technical, but it also gives you resources here, or very cheap resources, or applications, or little plugins or programs you can use every step along the way, from kind of discovering what you need to do, who your target market is, what your SEO game plan is going to be like, all the way through to implementation and the results. Which is really cool. I really liked it.
And I just closed my Google Doc, so let me get back into that.
It's okay.
Bring us to the next one.
And we'll go to the last one. And this is where we were going to leave you today, is with great content can't deserve to rank. This is by Patrick Hathaway on Saloon of Literature. And it's his version of, or his commentary on the state of Google. And we've seen recently with BBC, with Interflora, which we talked about on earlier episodes, how they were getting basically shut down off Google. You couldn't even search for them anymore because they were selling links illegally, the way they were doing it, and sharing or advertising those links. And people are concerned, Patrick as well here, basically saying that, are we entering this dangerous path where suddenly the Google algorithm is smarter than you or smarter than a person? And even if you get a little social or do something a specific way, is your website going to get taken down or going to get flagged?
Right. And I think we talked about this once before, but there has to be a humanistic approach to this.
Yeah.
And I know there are humans behind the scenes at Google reviewing some of their rankings to make sure that it's not becoming that robotic.
Yeah, the robot didn't shut down BBC.
Right.
Somebody did, but the robot pointed them in that direction.
Right. But in the same regard, the robot won't be saying, well, this article got 7,000 Facebook likes. It was shared on Twitter 15 million times. So naturally, we will rank this as good content. Somebody has to go in there and say, yeah, this is generally good, but there's going to be gray area in that. It's human nature, right? I mean, how can you do it 100%? You can't, because everybody thinks of something different. Like this article right here is a bunch of the original Office and the new Office jokes. Some people may not even think that's funny, right? So it is still subjective, but
But that's the beauty of it, is with that social we can tell people what well, that sounds awful, telling people what is funny,
right?
But the majority of people find this hilarious, or the majority of people find this helpful, is a really nice strategy versus Google's algorithm or Google's robot thinks that this is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a wrap for SEO Lunch this week. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you had enough time to finish your lunch before the boss wanted you back at the desk, and that you got some good, useful tips. Check us out, slocumstudio.com, slocumstudio.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. By the time you see this episode, if you are a WordPress fan or somebody who's using WordPress, reselling WordPress services, we'll be launching a WordPress how-to playlist.
Absolutely.
From more step-by-step how to create pages, posts, update the site, all that fun stuff, not the entertainment press this stuff that we do of reviews and different combinations like that. So check it out. Be aware of it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.